Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are plumbing the depths of something that's often ignored, sometimes smelly, and always, always crucial if you rely on one. I'm talking about septic systems.
Mhm.
For decades, owning one basically meant you were in a reactive stance. Your home maintenance routine was, wait for a smell, a slow drain, or
Or the worst case.
exactly, the worst case, a full expensive backup before you finally make that emergency call. It was, a purely defensive, crisis-driven way to manage it.
It really was.
Okay, let's unpack this. What we've learned from all the research you shared is that this whole reactive approach is, thankfully, becoming obsolete.
It's about time.
Septic maintenance is finally catching up with the 21st century. It's entering an era that's smarter, more affordable, and frankly, a lot more homeowner-friendly.
Right. Driven by smart tech and new treatments.
We're moving from just managing disasters to proactively optimizing the health of the system.
And that shift is profoundly necessary. The old model, just waiting for a failure, it has resulted in billions, literally billions of dollars in preventable repairs.
I'm guessing drain fields are the big one there.
That's the catastrophic expense. The modern demand is focused entirely on early detection and, accessible preventive solutions to avoid those crises. It gives the homeowner back control.
That's really the heart of it. When we look at that old model, it failed because it was built on two really dangerous assumptions.
Here are those.
First, that any problem will be obvious before it gets serious. And second, that just getting a professional pump out every few years is enough to keep the whole system healthy.
And the reality, which our sources just emphasize over and over, is that septic failures happen silently.
Underground, out of sight.
Exactly. The process is a slow-motion catastrophe. You need to think of your septic system not just as plumbing, but as a biological factory. And when that factory starts failing, it doesn't send you a notification.
So if the external signs, like a backed up sink or a puddle in the yard, if those are the final stage, what is happening in that silent, destructive phase leading up to it?
Well, it all begins with the biology. Sludge, which is just the solids, it builds up slowly at the bottom of the tank, and then, crucially, the delicate microbial balance gets destroyed.
So the good bacteria die off.
Right, the harmful, slower bacteria start to overpower the beneficial microbes that are supposed to be doing all the work, the ones doing the decomposition. It's like plaque slowly building up in an artery. You just don't feel it until it's far too late.
And once that internal balance tips, the whole environment just degrades pretty quickly, right?
Exactly. The internal environment suffers two critical disruptions. First, oxygen levels drop, which essentially starves the good bacteria. And second, the pH balance shifts dramatically.
So it becomes a hostile environment for the things that are supposed to help.
Precisely. And that slow degradation means the pipes leading out to the drain field are narrowing. The solids are turning into these dense, impenetrable mats. And the drain field itself is being contaminated long before you ever notice the water draining slowly upstairs.
So by the time you see those symptoms, the smell, the slow drain, the expensive damage is often already done.
That's the urgency.
Yeah.
And it's what's driving this whole demand for predictive solutions.
Which brings us to the first big innovation.
Yes, that need for prediction is exactly why this is so exciting. We're talking about smart septic monitoring technology.
Okay.
And these aren't some complicated industrial systems. They are small, pretty rugged monitoring devices that get installed right in or around the tank. You could even retrofit them into existing systems pretty easily.
This is amazing. It's finally bringing the same kind of data and connectivity we expect from, our smart thermostats or security systems.
To the most neglected part of the home.
Right. The most neglected, and yet one of the most expensive pieces of infrastructure we have. Our sources detailed exactly what these sensors track, and it's far beyond just checking a liquid level.
They absolutely monitor those critical indicators,
Yeah.
like liquid levels. That's your number one early overflow detection.
Okay.
But more importantly, they track flow rates and usage patterns. And this is where the data gets genuinely insightful. They can tell you the system is stressed because you, say, ran 4 loads of laundry and the dishwasher at the same time.
Ah, so it can tell the difference between a big surge and a sustained, steady leak.
Exactly. The system is basically learning the rhythm of your household.
What are some of the other key metrics these things track in real time?
Temperature is a fascinating one. A sudden drop or spike in temperature inside that tank can signal a shift in microbial activity.
Really?
Yeah, it often indicates a chemical shock or a die-off. It gives you a heads up that the biological factory is struggling, even if the liquid levels seem fine. But most critically, these systems provide predictive modeling for backups.
And that has to be the real power. The immediate real-time alert sent right to your phone.
That's the game changer.
You're moving from discovering sewage in your basement to detecting a 10% increase in tank saturation, or a weird deviation in flow rate hours or even days before failure.
That is the definitive shift, from being reactive to being genuinely predictive.
So once you have the sensors, it's not just a panic button.
Not at all. Once they're installed, the process transitions into what we call data-driven septic care. They generate this rich data that helps you create a customized care plan.
So what kind of data are we talking about?
We're talking about analyzing monthly waste volume, understanding how seasonal usage like having guests over in the summer stresses the system, identifying vulnerabilities, like what happens during a period of heavy rainfall.
Wow, that level of detail is amazing. It lets a homeowner understand that, for example, their system handles 150 gallons a day just fine, but that holiday spike to 300 gallons is what requires a preemptive boost.
Exactly. Instead of just dumping chemicals in year-round or pumping it out unnecessarily.
That eliminates so much guesswork.
It does. And it empowers the homeowner. Our sources noted that just reducing unnecessary pumping based on real data can save a homeowner something like $1,500 over 5 years.
That empowerment is key. Because that data, it doesn't just help the pros, it empowers homeowners to take the reins themselves. Which leads us right into this explosion in DIY care we're seeing.
It's a natural progression.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because this DIY trend isn't just about saving money, although, rising costs for professionals are definitely a factor.
Sure.
It's driven by this increased awareness of the biology, a desire for eco-friendly, chemical-free care, and just the sheer convenience of a simple monthly routine. Homeowners are realizing this stuff doesn't have to be so intimidating if you understand the science behind it.
And to succeed with DIY, you have to understand the tank itself. It is not a passive holding vessel. It is a living system.
An ecosystem.
An ecosystem that you have to nurture. It's like keeping a saltwater fish tank or growing a sourdough starter.
That is a great analogy because both of those are incredibly sensitive. So what are the 3 critical biological factors you have to maintain for a healthy septic ecosystem?
Okay, first, you need good bacteria. These beneficial microbes are the workhorses. They're essential for breaking down all the organic solids, the paper, everything.
Number 1.
Second, and this is absolutely vital, you need oxygen availability. This is critical because oxygen supports aerobic bacteria, which are dramatically faster, cleaner, and much less odor-producing than their anaerobic counterparts.
Anaerobic are the ones that thrive when the tank is suffocating. Right.
Exactly.
Can we put a number on that speed difference?
Yeah.
Why should you care so much about promoting aerobic conditions?
Right, because aerobic bacteria are just vastly more efficient. Our sources suggest the aerobic breakdown can be up to 10 times faster than anaerobic decomposition.
Wow. 10 times.
And crucially, they produce about 90% less of those foul-smelling sulfur compounds that cause all the tank odors.
So a happy, oxygenated tank smells far less and works much more quickly.
That's the bottom line.
And what's the third factor governing this whole living system?
That would be balanced pH levels. Just like that sourdough starter, if the tank environment becomes too acidic or too alkaline, if the pH swings too far, it becomes a hostile environment. It kills off those helpful microbes and just grinds the decomposition process to a halt.
But hold on, if these systems are so sensitive with the pH and the oxygen, isn't the idea of DIY maintenance a little risky?
That's a fair concern.
I mean, doesn't that just lead to more people accidentally pouring harmful chemicals down the drain or getting the balance wrong?
It could, but the modern DIY trend relies on pre-measured, targeted biological treatments. It's the exact opposite of haphazardly pouring bleach down the drain.
Ah, I see.
The goal of these new solutions isn't to shock the system. It's to consistently replenish what your normal household usage naturally depletes. They're designed to be, well, idiot-proof.
A simple monthly input that stabilizes things.
Yes. And if those 3 factors are consistently disrupted, bacteria die off, oxygen drops, pH is unstable, you get the symptoms the old system relied on. The odors, the sludge buildup, the clogged pipes, and eventually the failed drain field. It connects the microscopic world in the tank directly to the macroscopic failure you experience.
Which brings us to the modern solution for maintaining that ecosystem: monthly septic treatments. We're fundamentally moving away from thinking that pump outs are the only answer and more toward this continuous, proactive biological maintenance, like monthly booster shots for the system.
Yes, the goal of these modern treatments is entirely collective. They work together to support and stabilize the tank's environment.
So what do they actually do?
They aim to replenish the beneficial bacteria that get killed by household chemicals. They actively improve oxygen levels to promote that faster, cleaner decomposition, and they help break down existing sludge.
Okay, how do they improve oxygen levels? I think most people assume a septic tank is, sealed off from the air.
It is sealed, and that's the problem. Modern treatments often use a mechanism, usually an enzyme or a slow-release compound, that actively releases oxygen into the liquid layer of the tank.
Interesting.
This is crucial because it helps change the entire environment from one that fosters those slow, stinky anaerobic bacteria to one that supports the faster, cleaner aerobic microbes. This oxygen-based action is what really distinguishes the new treatments from the old chemical additives.
And if we look at specific examples, we see products that really champion that simplicity and consistency.
Absolutely. The trend is moving towards solutions that are just simple, a single-dose monthly routine. They have to be chemical-free, designed to support the good bacteria, not kill them off.
Like SEPTIFIX.
If you look at products like SEPTIFIX, these oxygen-based monthly tablets, they really exemplify this shift. It's all about continuous, easy prevention, not crisis management. They're designed for the busy homeowner who wants maximum protection with minimal effort.
So the real power isn't in choosing one tool over another, but in synthesizing them into a cohesive system.
Precisely. The future of septic maintenance is all about integration. We can describe the modern septic care strategy as a four-part system.
Okay, what are the parts?
You use smart sensors for early detection. You build usage awareness from that data to prevent overload. You incorporate monthly treatments to maintain that vital bacterial balance. And then finally, professional inspections and pump-outs become less frequent, but far more strategic.
They're based on the data you provide them.
Exactly.
And this combination, it dramatically reduces all the things a homeowner dreads, right? Emergency repairs, bad odors, premature system failure.
Especially the drain field.
And those paralyzing, unexpected expenses. It takes the stress out of owning a system that can cost tens of thousands of dollars to replace.
And we can't overlook the huge environmental benefits here.
Tell me about those.
When systems are maintained biologically, not with harsh chemicals, you get reduced chemical runoff into the groundwater. You get healthier, longer-lasting drain fields, which means less disruptive excavation. It's a significantly lower carbon footprint overall.
Yeah.
Fewer emergency service calls, fewer trucks on the road.
So looking ahead, say 5 to 10 years, the trajectory seems pretty clear.
I think so.
Septic systems are going to become more automated, more data integrated, and largely homeowner managed. Our sources predict that built-in smart sensors will become standard in new home construction.
I could see that.
And we'll likely see AI-assisted maintenance alerts that analyze weather patterns and your household data to warn you about stress points.
Like an upcoming heavy rainstorm combined with high water use.
Exactly, a preemptive warning.
And I expect we'll see a much wider adoption of subscription-based care, centered around these simple, effective treatments. It moves the whole industry away from reactive chemicals and toward consistent oxygen-based biological solutions.
It's a recognition that the problem isn't the waste itself.
The problem is the lack of proper balanced decomposition.
So the takeaway here is simple. Septic maintenance is finally becoming preventative instead of reactive.
Simple and empowered instead of complicated and intimidating.
And eco-conscious instead of chemical-heavy.
That's it.
So what does this all mean? It means you, as a homeowner, can finally protect one of the most important and, frankly, most expensive systems in your home with confidence. We're entering an era where the focus is not on fixing drain field disasters after they happen,
But on preventing them entirely.
on preventing system failure entirely through consistent data-driven biological care.
And since we know the health of that system relies so heavily on oxygen availability for those faster, cleaner aerobic bacteria,
Yeah.
it raises an important question for you to think about. What overlooked household habits, whether it's, high volume water use from a running faucet or accidentally flushing things you shouldn't, what might be inadvertently reducing oxygen levels and throwing off the pH balance in your tank right now? And how could the detailed flow data from a smart sensor help you pinpoint and stop those habits? That's definitely something worth mulling over until our next deep dive.